With the SEC's potential appeal in the courts, we're going to be talking a little bit around whether or not this is going to have an impact on Ripple and XRP. We'll also be taking a look in this video at some of the technical analysis on the charts for the 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, just to see how things are kind of lining up there as well. So as we kind of get into today's video, if you find it useful and informative, do smash that like button. Really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel here on YouTube, why not go ahead and subscribe? And if you are watching this on Twitter, give us a retweet. Really do appreciate that too. Don't forget though to join us down in Discord. Links in the descriptions below. Why not check that out? And on Twitter, check out the link tree for all of the links for various different things that we have to offer here at Cheeky Crypto. So why not give it all a bit of a look through? Let's jump right down into today's video, starting things off with our charts for the 1 hour time frame. So we're still within our structure. We did see a little bit of a deeper move to the downside here on XRP, right? So we're looking for this long position to come up towards the 64.418 to 64.764. We're still within our structure here. However, our target range does change. So we're going to go ahead and just adjust this. You can see that we slipped down lower than we were previously on this B wave. Okay, we came down here, we've bounced up, and we come back down a little bit deeper, right? Now in here, we can see some interesting things that are occurring. I'm just going to pull this over to this side for a second. We can see that we are getting rejected on our 50 EMA. Okay, so the 50 EMA is our resistance on our 1 hour time frame at the moment. Now, if we get our fib tools and we just go ahead and measure the distances here, we can obviously see that we have this bounce here and we start to move up. We are looking for adjustments within our targeted expectations. And so this is now actually going to be, because of how deep we came here, going to be 64.248 to 64.649. That's going to be on the higher side there where we're looking, right? This is also equilibrium, as we can kind of see, but also we have that 200 EMA to contend with. Now, ultimately, I suspect we still have further to the downside here to go before we can move on up. I suspect that we're still going to be hitting back down, or the price action is going to be suppressed by 50 EMA. So when we take a look at our structures here, I do think we've completed the move to the downside. We do see we have this low here at 62.572, and specifically the structure of interest is actually right inside here. You can see these few candles. It's not overly very clear here, so I'm just going to take it to a 15 minutes so you can kind of see this particular pattern here. So we've had this move up and we're looking for a move to come on down just a fraction further. If I bring this back to our hourly, it's specifically this little bit here. So we have our low at 62.572, and we're looking at a potential move to kick us down just a fraction further here, bringing us towards 62.641. Okay, and if I put another line right on there, and I'm just going to knock that down to 61 and just remove the fib tool, we're looking at a potential three-wave drop here, here, and here. You'll notice that we will be in a higher low on each of these. So we have our low here, we have a higher low, we have a higher low, and this here will be another higher low. Okay, and what you're finding is we have lower highs and lower lows, and we're basically, higher lows and lower highs, and what we're doing is we're coiling up, right? So if I go ahead and start drawing in our trend line, as you can kind of see, we're getting suppressed by that 50 EMA, but we also have our trend lines coming up here, as you can kind of see. We can adjust this one to probably to be this wick, and we can see that we are looking at these areas for holding some good levels of support, right? And we're coiling up. Now, this is a continuation pattern for a B wave pattern, taking us up into a C wave, which I think will get this explosive move coming up here. Okay, we might find that it's a 5-wave pattern to kind of finish this one off and take us up into those high ranges. So that's kind of what we're looking for here. Everything is still quite very much in structure. The only way that this really breaks down is if we can come down lower than the swing low coming in at 62.442. So if we want to kind of be bearish on the market here and we want to see confirmation that we are, not going to be going up into that high range of equilibrium, then essentially we need to break down lower than 62.442. So our long positions here, which we'll talk about a little bit later, we'll be looking at these key areas of support, okay, as our kind of areas to kind of think about our trading positioning. Okay, so that's our 1 hour time frame. If we go ahead and bring this up into our daily time frame, As we can kind of see, we are looking for our X wave up a little bit higher. Right now, as you can kind of see, we're finding good support on the 50 EMA of the daily time frame. We're also down in this oversold area as well on our stochastic. So ultimately here on this time frame, we're actually looking okay. We're looking for this move up. I do not suspect we're going to really be on the higher side of this at 71. I suspect it's probably going to be more on the low side at the 69-cent range, but that's kind of what we're looking for. Once we've achieved this swing high, I imagine that we are going to be moving down quite aggressively into our accumulation zones for the next bigger move upwards, right? And essentially, these particular range that I'm most interested in is between 53 cent and 58 cent. So we're going to be breaking down into that Z wave, into that range. This is also going to coincide with a 200 EMA support level. Okay, so we're still bullish on XRP. This is just a short-term correction, as you can kind of see on our daily time frame. There isn't anything more to this than what you see here. Essentially, this is just a nice healthy correction after having a really nice move to the upside. If I zoom out of this daily chart, you can kind of see we had this three-wave pattern complete at the top here. This is a corrective WXYXZ pattern, taking us back down into that 53, 58 cent range. This is a previous area of resistance, as you can kind of see here, guys, right? We had this area as resistance back up in September of 2022. We can see that it was also resistance up here in March of 2023. We also found it as brief resistance again in June of 2023 before we finally got that fantastic news that broke us up higher, right? And we broke up into that C wave high. It went exactly to where we thought it was going to go, right? We had a target of 93.76 and it went to 93.8. So everything on the target ranges here is looking very, very good. This is just a correction down so that we can continue this fantastic run upwards, because I do think we're going to have a really nice move to the upside once we complete that Z wave pattern. But we have to appreciate that profits have to be taken, and you need to appreciate the process that is involved in this. It can't just go straight up and not have these kind of scenarios where we see calling off in the price action. So taking this up into our weekly time frame, as we can kind of see, we can scale this out. We can see those fantastic highs as well, right? We have the idea that there's a fantastic C wave up here between the $5.57 and $11.25, right? This is the area that I think is the most probable scenario for XRP in that next kind of big major run upwards. We're not there yet. This is something that's going to happen several months in the future, not something that's going to happen right away. And we still can't rule out the idea if we do come down into a new bear market low. It's something that has to be considered here, considering our structures look like they have completed at the moment just short of that $1 level at that 93.8 cent level, right? And so at the moment, what I'm really focusing in on this weekly macro time frame is how the price reacts to our support level, 53 to 58 cent, right? And this particular area where it was previously resistance, we want to turn it into support. If we lose this as a theoretical support level, then I suspect we are going to be looking at moving down quite significantly from there. It's not going to be the outcome that we want. It's going to be something that we have to kind of take on the chin and move with the times. As the price action, if it were to do this and it were to break that support level, then we're going to have to look at that as a potential shorting opportunity, and we're going to have to take it for what it is, essentially a bearish move in the price action of XRP. There does come opportunity with that, because I do think we're going to see some fantastic gains later on. I don't think that's something that is going to be avoided. We're going to see some pretty decent growth in XRP, but we need to appreciate that, you know, when the price action dictates a move is going to be more bearish, then that is what it is. The data suggests that things would be bearish. Now, for the moment, that's not a problem for us. We are looking okay. We're looking reasonably bullish. We are looking at correcting our momentum indicator on the weekly time frame from the overbought area to the oversold area, and I think we'll fall nicely inside our support level when we actually get there. So 53 to 58 cent looks like a good support, a strong support area for XRP, and I think we're going to perform incredibly well from there. So it is what it is. We'll take it as time progresses and see how kind of things go, but for now it does look like we have a nice healthy correction across these time frames. We'll be looking for those small moves on the hourly time frame. The daily looks like it's got to progress upwards, and then of course the weekly here we are talking about moving down just a fraction into this support level before we can then start to get a decent rally upwards. But let's go ahead and move on over into the data side of things. So for those who know or do not know, I don't know how you don't know at this point, but we do hold our own membership website, membership.𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 We do offer a 7-day free trial across the various different plans. We we have so many different things here. I can't talk about it all in all these videos, but if you do head over to the website, you'll be able to see the different things that we have to offer. And of course, you can access absolutely everything using the mega pack down here as well, right? All available on the 7-day free trial. We talk about this because obviously we have some on-chain data for XRP, which is really useful as it helps us understand what's going on with the price action of XRP outside of just, taking a look at candlesticks in a price chart. We can also take a look at the fundamental side of people holding XRP, for example, all the way through to liquidations and things like that happening at the exchange level. So if we bring up our data here, we can see we have an overview, the amount of circulating supply, the all-time highs, the percentage that we're down from the all-time high through to transactions, all that kind of good stuff, right? I went through this, I think, yesterday, so I'm not going to go through this one again today. I just want to jump into the liquidations. I like to keep a daily read on where liquidations are, whether there's any unusual activity with liquidations and things like that, because this can be an indication that the exchanges are maybe struggling and they're liquidating people to recoup some of their losses. So in the case of XRP here, from a liquidation standpoint, Binance is the exchange with the most amount of liquidations for XRP. Comes in at $74,000. It's not that much. The total amount of liquidations for XRP in the last 24 hours was $167,000, which basically means there isn't that much leverage trading going on across some of these platforms. That to be said, it isn't actually accessible on many platforms from a leverage trading point of view, right? So again, you're kind of bottlenecked into these kind of larger exchanges that are offering leverage positions on XRP. So Binance takes top spot at 74,000. We have Bybit in second place at 56,000 and OKX at 35,000. Ultimately, most of the positions were long at 65.12% of positions being liquidated were long positions, and 34.88% of short positions were liquidated in the last 24 hours. And so as we kind of reflect on this, we can see that Binance equates to 44% of all liquidations, Bybit is 33%, and OKX is 20%. So pretty significant in the way of liquidations. But again, these are really small numbers. There isn't that much leverage trading going on with XRP, which is really apparent when we jump into kind of the wallet holders or the people holding large amounts of XRP, right? We can see that actually most of these wallets have been accumulating quite steadily over the last few days. These are spot wallets. These are not exchange-based wallets. And so when we take a look at this data, we can say, okay, well, there's 33,000 wallets that have over 100,000 XRP. There are 2,128 wallets that have over 1 million XRP. And for the most part, these large wallets have been accumulating, which is great to see. Moving over into some news, though, we can see that a pro-XRP lawyer says that Ripple's partial win in the SEC lawsuit will stand even if the regulator wins that potential appeal, right? And this is quite interesting. So as you guys know by now, Jeremy Hogan over on Twitter or on YouTube, he covers XRP in this case quite well, so do check that out. Ultimately, he is saying here that it's kind of irrelevant, kind of like a top level thing. And the reason for this is that the appeal that the SEC, or according to the SEC court filing, the regulator's possible appeal in the Ripple case only seeks to overrule whether XRP's own sales on exchanges run afoul of the securities law. And that's quite an important thing. It's not saying that, peer-to-peer or regular retail investors trading XRP on exchanges. And so actually this is really positive because it basically tells us that the secondary market for XRP is actually not a security. Even the SEC are not even questioning that. What they're questioning here is that Ripple shouldn't have been selling on exchanges because that's potentially afoul of the securities law, right? They're potentially selling securities. Now, it's obviously up for debate as to whether it is or it isn't. But essentially, from the exchange point of view, retail investors are free to kind of transact on XRP as not a security, which is quite, an important distinction here. Ultimately, SEC are going after Ripple and Ripple specifically rather than retail investors trading XRP on and off exchanges. That does become quite complex when we start thinking about the exchange itself and whether or not the exchange trading XRP is something else that has to be kind of considered as an institutional potential player in the same way that Ripple would, right? But for the most part, from a retail investor to a retail investor through order books and things like that, not a security. And it's quite an important distinction. So this is a positive thing. I think this is going to be something that's going to really fuel XRP even further in the future, and it is a good thing to kind of be talking about, I think, generally. Moving over into exchanges, because I think this is something that we need to kind of talk about quite a bit. Obviously, we were talking about it within the data here in terms of liquidations. It's not that many exchanges that allow you to kind of leverage trade XRP. There are a few, Binance, Bybit, OKX, for example, even BitGet, right? And I think one of the things that we need to consider here is whether you are a leverage trader or a spot-based trader is, how can you get your hands on XRP? How can you withdraw that from the platforms and so forth, right? And so the best thing to do is really investigate all these various different exchanges and platforms out there. Ultimately, I think it's a really good idea to have exposure to as many of these platforms as you possibly can. Get familiar with how they work and find the platform that works best for you. BitGet is my go-to platform. It's the one I use every single day. I find it very intuitive and very easy to use, right? It might not be for everybody, but for me, BitGet is the kind of my chosen one. It's my go-to platform. And then I use these other exchanges as my secondary, my backups, right? So Binance, Coinbase, KuCoin, Gate.io, OKX, Bybit, right? These are all secondary to me, right? BitGet is my go-to platform, and I think it could be yours as well if you wanted to go ahead and check it out. There's an affiliate link in the description below, and if you do use that link, there's fantastic rewards up for grabs depending on how much you deposit and trade on the platform. There are obviously a lot of risks associated with leverage-based trading, whether you want to leverage trade XRP or not. You can also get spot trades available on BitGet as well. I do 100% of my leverage trading on BitGet and 90 to 95% of my spot trading on BitGet as well. I'm in discussions with BitGet about trying to up that to 100% spot if they will list all the tokens that I'm interested in on their platform. Obviously, that hasn't happened yet, but nonetheless, I do think that the XRP as a potential for really good gains in the next bullish market, BitGet has got that covered. You can get it on spot, you can withdraw it, you can put it into your own cold storage, or if you're a leverage trader, you can also leverage trade XRP as well. So why not check out BitGet, sign up, get familiar with the platform, understand how to move money on, how to move money off, and know the risks associated when it comes to trading as well. Links in the description below for BitGet. Let's move on over though, because there are some interesting things when it comes to obviously trades, right? Obviously, I said that I do 100% of my leverage-based trading on BitGet, and I do 90 to 95% of my spot trades on BitGet as well, right? But when it comes to trading, I think we've got some potential opportunities in here. So whether you want to kind of look at leverage trading or spot trading, I think there's an opportunity here regardless. Let's come back down into our charts for this, right? So following on from yesterday, we were kind of looking at an entry for a long position. It was approximately around about here, with our stop loss being below our swing low and our take profit is up here, okay, up in that higher range. This is still technically valid, but there might be a potential better entry coming up, right? So I would be looking at potentially coming out if I were trading this. I didn't have the time yesterday, but if I were trading this, I'll be looking at potentially coming out either a small loss or a potentially just kind of like cost neutral, maybe a little bit of profit, and looking for a better entry a little bit deeper. Because if we come and bring this down a little bit, let me see if I can actually go ahead and move this down into this lower range, you'll see that our risk reward ratio is much better, much healthier. So if we were looking for an entry around 62.643, for example, right here, with a stop loss still remaining down at that low side at 62.389, this will still give us our potential high, but much more minimal in regards to the risk, right? Because we're getting a 6.39 risk reward ratio, meaning that we have a really nice tight stop loss. So I do think there's going to be a better entry on a long position for XRP. Now, this could also be for your spot buys, but I think the percentage move here is not overly that impressive from a spot point of view. It's only about 2.5%. Whereas if you were to do that on leverage with a 10x, you're going to see much more significant gains on those long positions for XRP. So I do think there's some fantastic opportunities here from a trading point of view if you are into your trades. I do expect, though, that this is going to be a short-lived move to the upside. I do look at the daily chart thinking about 69 cent, but we have to have another correction down before we can move that. So, for example, we finish this C wave, we have another 3-wave drop, and then we go up to 69 cent, and then we short the market from there, because I do expect us to come down quite nicely into the lower ranges of 53 to 58 cent. Ultimately, there's a lot of trading opportunities here for XRP, lots of things to kind of be thinking about, but I think we've got the opportunity to kind of come out of these positions if we did get in yesterday, cost neutral, maybe a little bit of profit there, or take it a little bit on the chin to look for that better entry to get the better percentage gain with a much tighter stop loss at a later date. Ultimately, that's how I would approach this one, but I'm not a financial advisor. I cannot give you financial advice. It's just my thoughts and opinions on the market as I see it myself. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below, and I think I'm going to wrap this video up right there. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, retweet if you're watching this on Twitter, and check out the description for all the various different links of the things that we have to offer, or the link tree if you're on Twitter as well. Guys, until the next one though, have a fantastic day.